It was a quiet night. The moon hung low in the sky, casting a pale glow over the city. Jungkook, a powerful mafia lord, sat at his desk, his finger flying over the keys of his laptop. His hair was tousled, and his glasses slightly askew, giving him a disheveled and yet undeniable attractive look. He worked with a fierce intensity, his focus unwavering. That was until he looked at his sleeping wife, YN. A small smile tugged at the corner of his lips as he took in her peaceful expression. Despite his fearsome reputation, his heart softened at the sight of her. Yet, as he looked closer, he noticed the slight tension in her body. He closed his laptop and set it aside, his gaze still fixed on her. He quietly slid out of his seat and made his way towards the bed, stopping just beside her. He studied her face for a moment, a mixture of tenderness and concern in his eyes. The moonlight streamed in through the window, casting a soft glow over her features. Concern flashed in his eyes as he reached out and gently brushed a strand of hair away from her forehead. It was that he noticed the subtle warmth radiating from her skin. She was slightly feverish, and he silently cursed himself for not noticing earlier. As his finger grazed her forehead, she instinctively flinched in her sleep. Her eyes flared open, and she blinked a few times, trying to adjust to the darkness. Jungkook, why didn't you tell me you have a fever? His voice was a mixture of concern and irritation as he leaned closer to inspect her flushed cheeks. She sheepishly looked away, unable to meet his gaze. With a weary sigh, he sat down beside Vine on the bed. His gaze softened as he gently lifted her chin, making her look at him. Jungkook, why are you afraid of me? He asked. She looked into his eyes, feeling a mixture of guilt and vulnerability. Vine, I know it's just she started, but trailed off, unable to find the right words. His expression softened even more, his hands still lightly grasping her chin. Jungkook, just what? He promoted gently. Tell me what's on your mind. She swallowed, trying to find the courage to express her thoughts. Man, it's the nature of your work, your power. Sometimes it's intimidating, she confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. His grip on her chin tightened for a brief moment, but then relaxed once more. He understood her fear, her hesitation, but he also wanted her to see that he was still the same man who loved her deeply. Jungkook, I understand your fears, he said, his voice steady yet soothing. But you have to trust me. I may be a mafia lord, but I would never harm a hair on your head. You should know that by now. She nodded slowly, the tension in her body slightly easing. She knew deep down that he would never hurt her, but it was hard to shake off the residual fear that came with his power and reputation. Jungkook, promise me you will always be honest with me, he said, his thumb gently caressing her jaw. If you are feeling unwell or if you are afraid, don't hesitate to tell me. I want to take care of you. But I can do that if you keep things from me. He smiled faintly, his hand still gently caressing her cheeks. Jungkook, I may be a mafia lord, a powerful man, but by any standard, he said, but to you, I am just the ordinary husband who loves his wife. Never forget that. Your safety, your happiness is my priority, always. Her lips curved into a small smile, her eyes glistening slightly in the moonlight. She leaned into his chest, her body relaxing at his words, settled in her heart. The tension that had been building between them for a while seemed to dissolve, replaced by a sense of comfort and reassurance. He smiled fondly as he leaned in and planted a soft kiss on her forehead. Jungkook, now sleep, he said, his voice laced with tenderness. You need to rest and let your body fight the fever. When? Okay, but can you turn off the AC? I am feeling a bit cold. He nodded and quickly got up to turn off the air conditioner. He returned to the bed, pulling the covers up around Ryan and tucking her in snugly. As he settled back onto the bed, he noticed a slight shiver from Ryan. He looked at her with concern, asking, Jungkook, still feeling cold? She nodded, her teeth softly clacking as she huddled beneath the covers. Ryan, yeah, she muttered. I can't seem to get warm. He leaned closer to her. He gently touched her arm, his fingers tracing small circles on her skin. Jungkook, do you trust me? Her gaze met his, and without hesitation she nodded. When, of course I trust you, she replied, her voice just soft. Without another word, he pulled off his shirt, revealing his muscular chest. He then moved closer to Anne, wrapping his arm around her. His body was warm and trim as he spooned her from behind, her back pressed against his bare chest. As she felt his bare skin against her own, her body went erect, and a wave of heat rushed to her cheeks. She could feel the heat radiating from his chest and the steady thump of his heart against her back. She took a deep breath, trying to steady her rapidly beating heart, but it was useless. The feeling of his body against hers was overwhelming, and she felt a mix of confusion, embarrassment, and strange excitement. "Man, you are so warm," she murmured, her voice shaky. She was trying to hide the effect he was having on her, but it was hard. She would never been this close to him before, and it was stirring up all sorts of unfamiliar. He could feel her hesitancy, a slightly tremor in her limb. He tightened his grip on her, pulling her closer, his lips mere inches from her ear. "Jungkook, just relax," he whispered. His voice slow and soothing. "Let me warm you up." He carefully turned her around so that she was facing him, her body still involved in his strong arm. He gazed down at her, his gaze serious and intense. "Jungkook, relax, woman," he murmured, his voice firm but gentle. You're safe with me. Just let yourself relax." Her eyes widened at a sudden change in position, her heart fluttering in her chest, but his words, spoken with such a commanding yet tender tone, managed to calm her somewhat. She took a deep breath and let it out slowly, willingly herself to relax in his embrace. He chuckled softly, amused by her reaction. He leaned forward and pecked her lightly on the lips. "Jungkook, my cute and innocent wife," he said, his voice laced with affectionate amusement. So easily flustered, her cheeks were still flushed, her heart pounding in her chest. She pushed against his chest, trying to put some space between them, but his grip on her was too strong. He let out another low chuckle, amused by her flustered state. He pulled her even closer, her chest pressed against his bare chest. "Jungkook, okay, I'm stopping now, love," he said, his voice still amused but also softer now. "You need to rest and get better." Took a deep, shaky breath, trying to calm her racing heart. She could still feel the heat from his chest, and the scent of him was intoxicating, but she eventually managed to relax in his arms. She closed her eyes, her body going legs against his. He felt her body relax in his arm, and a sense of calm washed over him. He continued to hold her, his hand running gently up and down her back, soothing her. He knew she was tired, exhausted from the day's events, but he couldn't help but relish this feeling. Her body so close to his, her trust in him evident in her relaxed state.